The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning, Kern County. It is 5:07. I'm Alex Fisher along with Nicole Gitsky. And yes, we're off. We've been off the air for just a couple of minutes, and that's because we're dealing with a lot of technical issues after last night's thunderstorm that rolled through Kern County. Kevin talked about that there was a slight chance that we were going to see it. Sure enough, it materialized, and we saw a power outage here in studio last night, and of course that kind of kept things a little difficult for, I think, not just us, for a lot of people if you did lose power.
I think we're all just kind of rolling with the punches on this Friday.
Yeah, for sure. But let's talk about that thunderstorm that we saw last night, because if you saw those boom or heard those booms and saw those flashes, you're definitely not alone. Take a look at this. It was just a sudden storm that brought some light rain and lightning and thunder to our area. And this is a look at the lightning from our rooftop camera here in downtown Bakersfield. You can see that ground that sky to ground lightning that, of course, is so dangerous. And we heard from several of you reporting that you heard a loud noise just before 11 p.m. followed by that power outage. That's what we're talking about. And that power outage actually took us off air. We were not able to broadcast from the studios last night at 11 o'clock. During the regularly scheduled news time.
And Kevin did talk about this yesterday. He mentioned a couple of times that we could see this storm, come into our neck of the woods. Now, I think the one thing that we didn't really expect is it's so hot out. We didn't really expect rain.
Yeah.
But Kevin, you were right.
Well, whenever you have a thunderstorm, you a lot of times have the rain to come with it. And we talked about the slight chance yesterday, and it did materialize last night. And it's kind of a trickle-down effect whenever you lose power, especially with all that we have in our studios. It kind of trickles down. So we're going to be dealing with that all morning long, but we're just glad to be on the air with you this morning. Taking you outside right now, you can see the sun is coming up. We do have some cloud cover out there, and a temperature right now at 86. And you can see our humidity value is up as well. 32% with a west-northwest wind at 5. As we take a look at the almanac, you can see yesterday we hit 101 in Bakersfield, and again we should be right around 93 this time of year. Here's a look at our hour by hour for today, though. We'll be right near 99 by 11, and you can see, dependent on the cloud cover, because that can limit the warm-up, we are expecting to be right near 110. There's also a slight chance of more thunderstorms in the forecast. Here's a look at Tehachapi. Yes, it is wet out there. You have picked up a 100th of an inch of rain out your way, 36% on the humidity, an east-southeast wind at 3, and we've got a few showers still remaining out there. Hour by hour in terms of temperatures, you are expecting another hot day with temperatures in the mid-90s. Now with the heat and also the cloud cover, it's going to feel a little sticky today as well. We'll talk more about your weather coming up in just a little bit. For now, back over to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Kevin. Well, 17 News is your local election headquarters, and this morning, one more candidate has entered the race to take on incumbent Congressman Kevin McCarthy in 2022. 17's Eitan Wallace has more on Marissa Wood's message to voters.
Kevin McCarthy isn't doing his job.
Marissa Wood talking tough about incumbent Republican 23rd Congressional District Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Let's face it, if he was like us with a regular job, he would have been fired a long time ago. He has consistently, over the last 14 years, put his partisan political agenda and his special interest groups over the people, the hardworking people who elected him to office. Enough is enough.
Enough, this registered Democrat says, to declare her candidacy for Congress to take on McCarthy. A teacher of English language learners at Fairfax Junior High School, Wood is a regular at Fairfax School Board meetings. Here she is just last week speaking before the board, calling on its president to resign.
Your community, your staff, and the grand jury are watching you.
And just prior to her remarks, she demonstrated outside the meeting hall. Wood and her husband John have lived in Kern County for 35 years, where they raised their 3 children. Her top issue?
Healthcare. Because healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Families should not have to choose, do I put food on the table or do I get health care for my kids?
And speaking of kids, this teacher says education must be a priority.
Education needs to be equitable. We need to make sure we're giving our students the best education they can get, because I truly believe education is the great equalizer.
But Wood could face a tough road ahead of her. She's running in a Republican majority district, and since McCarthy's first election in 2006, he has defeated his opponents by double-digit margins. Still, Wood is confident she can win.
I always told my students that one person can make a difference. I've been here, I've been in the community, I love this community. I will be proud, unlike Kevin McCarthy, when my job is done in Washington and I'm tasked to come back home, I will come back home.
Now, we didn't hear back from McCarthy's campaign on this story, but when Democrat Bruno Amato announced his candidacy earlier this year, McCarthy said, quote, "As I have been since day one, I remain committed to fighting for a strong, fiscally responsible and free America where everyone can achieve the American dream."
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
Welcome back to your 17 Court Watch. And two Bakersfield College history professors are suing the Kern Community College District for allegedly violating their right to free speech. The suit filed by Matthew Garrett and Aaron Miller says the district bowed pressure from other faculty members in threatening them with disciplinary action, including termination following an investigation into comments made at a public lecture. In September 2019, Garrett gave a public lecture on campus in which he discussed Marxism from speech and campus censorship. Miller gave the introduction. The suit says a few minutes of that speech was devoted to the spending of grant funds, of which Garrett said he believed was the promotion of a partisan political agenda. He identified faculty as receiving funds that were being directed to further such an agenda. District officials yesterday said it is their long-standing practice not to comment on matters that are being litigated. A hearing is scheduled for August 23rd. For more on this case, just head to our website, kget.com.
A local group is encouraging people to boycott businesses affiliated with Bakersfield City Council members following the council's passage of a new budget Wednesday night. The group, called the People's Budget Bakersfield, wants to defund the Bakersfield Police Department. More than 24 people spoke up at Wednesday night's council meeting, which got heated and prompted the mayor to clear the chambers. In the end, the city council approved the $683 million budget for the coming fiscal year, with $103 million of that allocated for BPD. Specifically, the budget funds 28 new sworn officers and 17 department civilian employees. Meantime, the Kern County Board of Supervisors is inviting the public back to its meetings. Starting next Monday, June 21st, in-person attendance will be back at full capacity seating. Millions of Americans are off work today after President Biden signed a law making Juneteenth a federal holiday, recognizing the end of slavery. Only 14 Republicans voted against it. That's giving some hope in Washington of compromise and other issues. Tracy Potts explains.
Hi, Nicole. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, a lot of people are not waking up early this morning after getting this last-minute day off. The president signing Juneteenth into law as a federal holiday. And some questions in Washington this morning about whether that bipartisan compromise may spill over into other issues. A majority of Democrats and Republicans voted yes on the law that makes Juneteenth a federal holiday.
The bill is passed.
Recognizing the end of slavery. President Biden says it's a start.
We can't rest till the promise of equality is fulfilled for every one of us in every corner of this nation.
For Democrats, that means taking action on voting rights. Their For the People bill is stuck in the Senate, in part because Democrat Joe Manchin won't vote for it. He's offering a compromise backed by voting rights advocate Stacey Abrams.
It's an important step forward as we try to protect the freedom to vote.
Democrats plan a test vote Tuesday. Republican leaders are opposed.
I just don't think the federal government should take over managing local elections. no matter how you do it.
There's also a compromise in the works on infrastructure. 11 Republicans, 9 Democrats, and 1 independent are pitching a $1.2 trillion plan that focuses on roads, bridges, rail, and transit.
This is merely a framework. This is a plan, and it's a plan that I hope we remain somewhat faithful to.
I still feel confident we'll have something by Monday.
It would be paid for in part with unspent COVID funds. Democrats have a backup plan, still working on compromise, but if they can't get it, they are considering options that would allow them to change the rules and vote some of this legislation into law without any Republican votes. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
An update now to a story we've been following: the cyber attack on California City's computer system. We have learned the city's transition to Microsoft Cloud is expected to take 7 to 10 days, but it comes with a cost. The city is expected to spend about $2,000 a month for the citywide Microsoft suite, plus another $100 an hour for the labor to get the system migrated. Councilmember Kelly Kulikoff says the attack was ransomware and a payment was demanded.
We're not going the route of agreeing to pay money for our system. We're taking a different approach and building a stronger system.
We also got in touch with Mayor Jeannie O'Laughlin, who says the biggest impact the cyber attack had was shutting down their emails and locking up their accounting and billing capabilities. Also from our follow-up file this morning, police say a man shot by officers Sunday has died. BPD says they had tried to pull over a driver who led officers on a chase, eventually crashing at the intersection of East Brundage and Cottonwood Road. That's when police say the suspect got out of the car and ran into a parking lot where he tried to steal a car at gunpoint. Several officers opened fire, knocking him to the ground. He was taken to the hospital with major wounds but died Wednesday. His name has not been released.
Now in your 17 Crime Watch, police say 5 men were arrested in an online child sex sting in which undercover detectives posed as a 14-year-old girl. Police say in each case, the accused arranged to meet the juvenile to engage in sex acts and showed up at an arranged meeting place where they were arrested. The suspects, all from Bakersfield, were identified as 23-year-old Christian Dorado, 36-year-old Yagvir Singh, 30-year-old Miguel Burgos, 30-year-old Oscar Hernandez, 25-year-old Oscar Hernandez, and Enrique Venegas. Meantime, police are asking for the public's help identifying a man who they say stole a catalytic converter in Northeast Bakersfield. According to BPD, the theft happened back on May 31st on University Avenue. The man is described as 20 to 25 years old, 6 feet tall, 275 pounds with a shaved head. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Otterness at 326-3937 or the Bakersfield Police Department at 327-7111.
The Bakersfield Fire Department responded to a large structure fire yesterday in central Bakersfield. The fire broke out around 5:30 in the afternoon at Bakersfield Motor Works near Sumner Street and Union Avenue, just south of Highway 178. The owner of the shop says it was a major loss and believes he knows how the fire started.
Well, I was trying to get that Lamborghini that I have in the back, and I mean, other vehicles over $100,000 cars went in flames. It makes me mad because I've been complaining about the people living in the back and in the tents making fires, and it makes me mad that it has to get to this point.
Arson investigators were called to the scene, but the fire department has not determined the cause. Now to the latest coronavirus numbers in Kern County as public health announced 23 new cases and no new deaths yesterday. Kern County's COVID-19 death toll stands at 1,401 lives lost. State data shows 32 people are in the hospital with the virus, 7 are in the ICU. Next week, Clinica Sierra Vista is giving away tickets to Six Flags Magic Mountain for the first 1,000 people who get vaccinated against COVID-19. The giveaway begins on Monday. Anyone who receives the vaccine from Clinica Sierra Vista will be eligible for up to 2 passes while supplies last. Each site will have up to 100 passes. For a link to locations offering the incentive, just head to our website, kget.com. Bakersfield College is holding a pop-up COVID-19 vaccination clinic at Mercado Latino today. It is happening from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. at the restaurant on Edison Highway. The clinic, which accepts both appointments and walk-ups, will be distributing both Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. To register, visit myturn.ca.gov and enter the zip code 93305.
Taking a look around town, Blessing Corner Ministries has spent years helping the most vulnerable in our community. Now they need your help to stay afloat. Blessing Corner says they're hoping to raise $75,000 to stay at their Union Avenue location. They're hosting a barbecue fundraiser today at the corner of Union and First Street from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have more information on our website, kget.com. And Blessing Corner Ministries is also helping out local dads this weekend. The church is hosting a Father's Day giveaway where they will hand out food baskets and gifts to all dads who show up. The Father's Day giveaway is this Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the church on Union Avenue.
Welcome back. A Flex Alert has been issued for today from 6 to 9 p.m. Flex Alerts are a call to consumers to voluntarily conserve energy when demand for power could outstrip supply, which generally occurs during heat waves. And with this devastating heat and the exceptional drought comes extreme fire danger. CAL FIRE asks to create a defensible space around your home by clearing out dry brush, plants, and leaves. This will form a fire break, so if a wildfire does come your way, your home will be more protected. Although fire danger is especially high this time of year, it's important to note officials have not released a red flag warning or a fire weather watch for Kern County.
Welcome back. 12 people were injured and one person is dead after 8 different shooting incidents by the same suspect in Arizona. Police say that 4 victims were shot yesterday during the 90-minute spree and 9 people were injured by shrapnel and car crashes related to the incidents. And 1 victim was found dead in a truck in a canal. The other victims are all expected to recover. Officials said that around 12:40 p.m. the suspect was spotted by the fire department, who called the police department to make an arrest.
I think we're all excited the fact that he gave up. He didn't continue to try and fire shots at anyone and was compliant with our officers.
Officials said they believe the shooter acted alone and they do not have a motive at this time. Well, the Supreme Court has dismissed a challenge to Obamacare. The justices ruled 7-2 yesterday that the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, remains valid, leaving the entire law intact. The ruling rejects the claim made by a group of conservative states that Obamacare's requirement to have health insurance or pay a penalty is unconstitutional.
The suspected gunman in a road rage shooting that killed a 6-year-old boy on a freeway in Orange will appear in court today. Marcus Anthony Reese was charged with the murder and discharge of a gun at an inhabited dwelling with sentencing enhancements for causing death. Win Lee was charged with accessory after the fact and concealing a firearm in the vehicle. Authorities believe Lee was the driver and Reese was the gunman. If convicted on all counts, Reese faces a maximum sentence of 40 years to life.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.